My name is Ann Hamlin. I'm the Communications Coordinator for Wisconsin Valley Library Service. So you're joining us for the Libraries Win Website Services webinar. This webinar is brought to you by the partnership of Wisconsin Valley Library Service and Indianhead Federated Library System. This is just one service in the suite or offerings of the Libraries Win platform. Again, this service is being offered to 75 libraries. Currently, we have been working with some pilot libraries who wanted to get in on websites early on. So they've been kind of our test group. So before we look at examples of actual websites, let's take a look at the outline of website services. I'm going to enlarge this just a little bit, and hopefully this document is not new to you. I sent this document out to everybody on October 30th as kind of an introduction to get you guys excited and also to let you know that this service is coming because this service is a partnership between the library system staff and the libraries using the service. It's not sustainable to have just myself and a small team working on 75 library websites. So we wanted to build a platform that would empower you to take control of your library website while also providing a nice looking website and a functional looking website, an accessible website, but something that you could contribute to and take control of and take it under your own wing as your own project. So as we walk through here, again, put your questions into the chat box and we'll talk about them at the end. But here's the general service outline here. So Libraries Win staff, so myself, will organize a virtual meeting for libraries interested in website services. So that's kind of what we're doing now, but I will also do that in the future as well. So the Libraries Win staff will draft a basic WordPress website, and I'm not going to say basic, I'm going to say standard WordPress website using the Divi theme. The Libraries Win staff, myself, will craft a standard WordPress website using the Divi theme, which comprises of somewhere around 5 pages. That could be a home, about, services, programs. You guys get to decide, but in general, all library websites that I have seen have a home page, an about page, a service page, a programs page, and more if they choose to. And I'll create this standard website using content gathered from your current website if you have one, and also communications with the library's webmaster as appropriate. Because when your library is interested in pursuing a new website, you'll have to choose a webmaster or someone who's going to be the website leader at your library. Now, that doesn't mean that only one person can work on the website. You can have more than one person working on the website, but we need a leader. The webmasters or the web team at the libraries are going to be responsible for editing content and adjusting design once you have a standard website, right? So the Libraries Win staff, that's us, will generate a username and a password for your website team, individuals, not one general sign-in. We want to make it so, the knowledge is transferable. So it's important to have one or more people accessing your website and knowing how to edit content and adjust design. That's our recommendation. So, and to do this, the library webmasters and team will consult the Elegant Themes Divi tutorial videos before contacting Libraries Win staff. So that's just the process we're going to go through. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to build a website for you guys and then say, okay, it's yours, go wild, without any help, right? That's just not feasible. Up at the top, the first bullet talks about meeting virtually, and I think that's always going to be an option that I offer because I want you guys to be comfortable and confident in your skills in editing your website. Websites can seem scary. It's a kind of a different skill. It took me 1.5 years to build our website, and I'm pleased with it, but it's a lot to wrap your mind around. So don't think that you're going to be totally responsible for this huge wild animal, right? You have help, you have each other, you have myself, right? So on this sheet, I had hyperlinks to 3 introductory videos that are wonderful. I cannot talk up enough these videos from Elegant Themes, the Divi team. They walk you through how to use each and every module, and we'll get into that a little bit later. It's wonderful. They're wonderful. I also want you to know that we will be organizing 2 co-work days per year, because I think it's important for us to all get in the same space and kind of roll up our sleeves and work on our websites together and ask each other questions and kind of explore functionalities. And also those days will have time for us to review skills and features of the websites that are important for us to know about. What else? Oh, and website best practices, just to review certain things, like addressing accessibility and how you can promote accessibility just simply as you edit your website. We will also be organizing virtual meetings as needed to review or explore current and future new website options. Websites are a living document. You don't just make it and it's done. It's an ongoing project, which I kind of like, because I think that libraries are changing and so should their websites, right? And then finally, I have created a listserv for libraries using the website services. And then I will use that email listserv to distribute announcements, new features, and also to maybe give you guys tips on specific things. But also, I'm going to be opening up that email list so that you guys can email questions to the whole group. So if I'm out at a workshop one day and you have a question that you want answered right away, then because you guys are all working on it, hopefully pretty regularly, that you might be able to help your colleagues out. And I think that's a community atmosphere that we really need to strive for, because we're all in this together. We're all going to be experts in our own ways because it's fun, and I think you'll learn to love it as much as I do. We also have another guide here, website design getting started. So this is the web service outline, and that seems pretty straightforward, but sometimes when you talk about building a new website, it's kind of overwhelming. Where do I start, right? So that's what this guide is all about, the Website Design Getting Started guide. And it's just going to ask you questions about, that help you start formulating what you want your new website to look like. What aspects of your current website do you like and why? What other non-library websites do you like? So it's just going to be asking you questions to kind of get the brainstorming process going. And then throughout the page here, hopefully it's not too overwhelming, but I suggest sketching out how you would like your websites to look. Again, you don't have to be an artist. You can pull out a pencil and paper and draw on a big, maybe you want to use a whiteboard, but I just suggest pulling out the art supplies and drawing, because as soon as I feel like when I am on on a Word doc or on any kind of computer program, the formatting of the tool kind of limits my imagination. So try sketching out what you would like your website to look like before you start tackling the tutorial videos. So we offer a WordPress website, and specifically a website built using the Divi theme. You're more than welcome to explore other themes and platforms, but in this service we're focusing on WordPress and specifically the Divi theme from Elegant Themes. So just another note here, the website, the web platform is responsive, and I'll show you that in a little bit later. But it's important to keep that in mind when you're designing web page. Keep in mind what changes as you shrink the screen and how it would look on a mobile device compared to a tablet, compared to a desktop. And when that seems a little daunting, but there's a wonderful, nifty little button on Divi that will help you keep that in mind as you edit your content and maybe add pages or so. There's a link here to browse other websites built by using Divi, and that's other businesses as well, not just libraries. I think browsing your other favorite websites that may not belong to libraries is helpful in the brainstorming process. You see what you like, you see what you don't like. Okay, so you're interested in library website, you've looked through these documents, now it's time to get started. So I'm going to need a few bits of information from you. As you prepare, you need to grab some files and some content. We'll need a high quality logo file from you guys. We'll need some colors that you'd like to see on your library website. Maybe your menu color, you want it to be something specific. So we need to know the definition of your colors. And if you just Google color definitions and these definitions there, that'll explain to you what they are and how you can find them. Otherwise, I suggest using your logo to, and if there's any colors in your logo or colors that you use regularly as a reference when we build your website, so I can pull the colors from your logo too if you don't have these. Okay, let's see what else is in here. And there's more resources on color arrangements. If you don't have a set color palette for your library, that's fine. Images, think about the images you want to use. I strongly suggest avoiding clip art. We should be using real photos and images. There's something about it's a special power that humans have to detect bad clip art, right? And stock photos. We just know a stock photo when we see it. So trying to find some real images and asking permission to use those real images if there's people in them is a good way to go. And then I have some books on the bottom here. Some really cool resources. There's some webinars if you want to watch those. David Lee King is pretty darn cool. And he did a Wild Wisconsin Winter Webinar Conference session for us in 2017, so I linked that there. He has really good things to consider and so on. Okay, so we've gone through those documents. Now, let's get to an example. So I did forget to mention that there is one more piece that you guys will need to do in addition of gathering your logo file and your the basic content that you would want on your website. You will need to contact your domain name service provider or your DNS provider, the place where your domain name is registered, your URL, and have them do this task. So this website project requirements sheet will also be sent out to you guys. And again, it's asking for those basic pieces of information. But your domain name service provider is going to know how to do this piece of information. So if it doesn't make exact sense to you, that's okay. They'll know what that means. So when you sign into your website, this is the dashboard that you will see. And to get to signing into your website, you'll have your demo website name. So it could be demo@wvls.org or dev@neilsvillepl.org or whatever your URL is. We'll have a little dummy name in front of it. And this is your sandbox website. So your current website will still be live while you play in this sandbox area. While you play in the sandbox area and build your new website here. So you can take 6 months, a year and a half. I don't recommend taking that long to build a website, but you could focus all your energy on this website and build your little heart out all while your other website is live. So you don't have to worry about any interruption in service because your current website will still be live. Okay, so this is the WordPress dashboard, and it gives us a little bit of information. It's not too important, it's not too in-depth here, but we'll just focus on this left side navigation. So once you sign in, and that's, going to your demo URL and then using this at the end, it'll give you a sign-in area or a sign-in page, and I'll give you the information to sign there. And it'll greet you by saying, "Howdy, super admin." The website team is called super admin, so when you sign in, it might say, "Howdy, Jimmy Nelson," or whatever your name is, your username is. And you can also, again, have your own image there. I don't think it's super important, so I never do that. So as we go along the left side here, the home button will bring you to this home dashboard page. There's an update section, which you will not have to worry about. The Libraries Win website team will handle all the updates for your website, so you don't have to worry about that. Right beneath it is posts, and that's if you want a blog post, and we can cover that later at a later date. Media, if you click into media, you'll see that this is where all of your files are. So I uploaded some pictures to go on the website, and this is where they live. So you can edit these images and add alternative text here, and we can talk about that later as well. Today's just an introductory day, so you don't have to remember everything that we go through. Next, we have pages. So if I click on pages, you'll see a list of the pages I have up and running. Beneath that, you'll have comments, because you can allow comments on your pages. And here's a starter comment from the WordPress team. It's kind of funny. It says, "This is a comment." And we can talk about how you can moderate comments later. You can have a setting where anybody and everyone can write a comment on your page. You can have a setting where anybody can write a comment, but you have to approve it, which I think is pretty important, because there's a million zillion scammers out there that kind of post some really long comments that are kind of gibberish. So I think it's important to monitor your comments, especially because that's a place where you can interact with the public. So more on that later. Projects I haven't done too much with, so we'll skip over that. Appearance, you will be spending some time in appearance, because you can, as it says here, customize things and adjust the background and mess with the menu, meaning you could reorder the menu if you wanted. You can add things called widgets at the bottom of your page. You can scrap the Divi theme altogether and add a different theme if you're super brave. But again, our service is supporting the Divi theme specifically, because as there are 75 libraries partaking in this service, we can't be an expert in 40 different themes, 10 different plugins. We're specializing in the WordPress Divi theme, so we can give you a better service and a more responsive service. Beneath that is plugins, and plugins are things that you can add additionally. One example is the Divi theme does not have a calendar function, so you can search for other calendar functions and add it in here. But again, we're going to be, your Libraries Win team is going to be a specialist in the Divi theme and the Divi theme functions. And if you go ahead and add a plugin, that you're going to have to be the expert in that plugin. But that's okay, because each plugin has a support network, and we can go into that at a later date. When you click on your plugin section, you'll see these added plugins in here, and this Infinite WP client, that's us. That makes it so we can access your website and help out and do your updates for you, and so that needs to stay in there. This Divi Extra Layout Injector is something that we added, so we expanded the functionality of the theme so we could make the menu behave how we wanted it to, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Here's the users panel, and you'll see that here's me, super admin webmaster, and then we can, and on your website, this is where we would add a new user, Jimmy Nelson, his email, what their role is, it'd be administrator. And so you could have multiple people that have a user username and password to access and edit your website and change the design and work together, right? And then settings, this is more of the detail work in here. So let's hop to it. Here is an example of a library website. Now, I'm using WVLS examples in here, but we can pop over to some Indianhead Federated Library System examples as well. And you'll see that we have the search box up in the top right and our logo in the top left. And here's 5-ish pages. Like I mentioned, every website has a home page. Generally, all library websites have a programs page, services page, about page, and I added a contact us page. And that menu is right beneath the logo and search area. One of the #1 factors or pieces of information people are accessing your library's websites for is your hours, phone number, and other contact information. So I slapped that right here. Another feature that our library websites have been using is a slider. It's kind of a poster of events coming up at the library. So I have a couple test sliders in here, and I pretended that the Friends Library having a book sale, and you'll see when I hover it over it, it stops moving, but that there's controls to move the slider along, right? At the bottom, you have spaces to add blurbs, so you can promote the Libby or Overdrive app, the Wisconsin Digital Libraries app in there, and website in there. Badger link, you can put that in there, and you can change the blurbs underneath each one of these to be whatever you want. You don't even have to have text down here. You can get rid of this. But I always think it was kind of nice to have a little descriptor underneath what it is. Beneath that, at the bottom of the page, you can have a search box, or you will have a search box that searches the library website. So let's say you are looking for library hours. You can search library hours. You can search names. Anything in text is searchable from this box. Now, this will not search your catalog. Your catalog, it won't be in here. You can't search Harry Potter and expect audiobooks for Harry Potter to pop up. If you did like a program on Harry Potter and had a blog on that, then that would pop up, but not that. You can also add your social media icons to pop, and you can have innumerable icons. You could have Pinterest and Google Communities and Instagram and all of them here, right? And then probably your logo and more contact information here. Now, see, it goes 3 and then 2. It's like a section of 2 here. You can change this arrangement as well. You could have 4 blurbs here. You could have 2 blurbs here. You could have 3 areas of content down here. It's really up to you. I'll even note that you can change such things as the footer down here. Notice I have my social media icons here, but you can also have them at the bottom of your page. Additionally, you can have a menu across the bottom, and on many websites you see that they do have a mega menu at the bottom of the page. So if you click into other pages, you'll see that the logo on the left and the search bar on the right are maintained, and on the bottom, the contact information, searching the website, and social media icons are maintained, so you can have areas that appear the same on every single page. And right here, I just threw in some content in here. And I'll send out the address of this demo website so you can take a peek, as long as a list of other library websites that have been built using this feature. I threw in some sample images here, but again, this is just filler content, and there really should not be this much text in here. It should always just be bullet points, because people don't spend that much time on website pages. It's kind of a waste of time to have content here, because they'll skim over it and not pay attention. So you want your web pages to be brief, and then have your librarians have all the information, or maybe a linked file, a linked PDF or a document about the service or topic, if you have that, so the patron can learn more if they want more, right? And these aren't even program examples. I just threw in webinar promotion Facebook squares there. And you can have them just square or horizontal. You can add space in between. You can have the images kind of pop off the page. You can have the images in with the text. Right now I have it outside of the text to the right, but the sky's the limit. This shows you that you can have multiple columns of things. Again, I would stress that less text is more. Kind of just becomes a sea of information. The About page, it's always nice to have pictures, and this is actually a picture of the Demmer Memorial Library, so thank you for letting me sample it. Again, this website is not live, so your pictures are not all over the internet. And then a contact page. You can have, when the website is live, you can have a map of your library. You can also have a map of where your library is down here. A contact form here is always handy if you don't want to put any specific email contact information for, Build Technology or whoever. If they don't want their specific contact information there, you can have an email form. I see a lot of the larger libraries using this method, but I just put some examples in there. And I always stress adding pictures, maybe a picture of your staff, maybe a group picture. If people don't really want to be in a picture altogether, they can hide behind other people, that kind of thing. So this is kind of a dummy website, and it doesn't have much functionality because it's a dummy website. So I'm going to take you to a couple other websites that are functioning Divi websites that have multiple pages here, just so you can see a little bit more of what it can do. Again, so you'll get a standard website that has 5-ish pages, content that I will put in there and arrange. I put more work into it so that it looks appealing, and make sure your images are kind of the same size and aren't interrupting each other. But then if you wanted, let's say this is the programs page, and I put children's, teen programs and adult programs all in one page. In some libraries that's just fine, but in other libraries you might want a separate page for each of them, and that's fine, but you can add that yourself by doing a new page. And again, we can talk about that at a live webinar another time to show you guys how to add pages. So before we go into the showing other websites that are built using Divi, I kind of want to take you behind the scenes and show you what the builder looks like. So you remember on the page that we were just on, there was a menu. Right beneath that we had programs, and then all the content for the programming is in here. And you can see the hyperlink, and then the teen programs, and then adult programs. You can bold things, you can italicize things, you can link things. In here you can add media, so we could add a picture of the Redfield Library in South Dakota, and you can put it on the right side, or you can put it in the center. You can drag it around. The sky's the limit. There's so much you can do in here. You can also add videos. You can indent things. And that's the beauty of Divi, is there's so much functionality, but you kind of have to make a design choice and go with it, and then adjust it as you go along if it's not fitting your needs, because you can really get lost in the design aspect and again spend 2 years building a website instead of getting a nice website up and running and then tweaking it as you need to. So I wanted to show you how easy it is to move things around. All I'm doing is clicking and dragging on things. You'll remember that on the right side of the page we had photos, so that we had a children's programming example image, a teen programming example image, and you can move any module around like that. Let's say you have 2 text areas and you wanted one text area above the other. You can just move it right above there. So it's very flexible, and you can copy a text area. You can copy an image. So you don't have to start from scratch when it comes to starting new sections of information. You can copy entire areas on your web page. So here's an exact copy. I'm just going to get rid of that. You can copy, so let's say you have multiple areas and it's full of content, which I don't really suggest, and you want to copy it again, you can hit this copy button. You'll have a whole another section down here. So that helps when you maybe instead of having one big programming block, you'd have a children's block, a teens block, an adult block. But just for getting this website up and going for us, I have everything in one block all together. But when just an example of how having multiple sections would come in handy is if you want your picture to line up with the text, you could delete this extra content and then have, okay, so this would be your children's information and your children's photo. Then you would have teens information and your teens photo. So all these pictures won't be right on top of each other. The picture will line up with the content that you desire. So, and you can see how I can monkey with this stuff, but also preserve the content up top and get rid of my ideas if they're not working. So, and again, this is just an introductory day. Don't feel like you have to memorize everything that I'm doing or learn everything right now. That's what those tutorial videos are all about, and they are step-by-step and fabulous. So, just a little bit behind the curtains, a lot of it about the 5 different, 5 pages and what could be on your page. Now let's take a look at other libraries that have built websites using Divi. This is Cadot, and Cadot put a lot of work in, and you'll see that they have their slider here, and they have their slider full width, and beneath it they have 3 sections of area to have content, and in their footer they have their hours and their social media, and they do have a map here showing where their library is, and they do have a calendar at the bottom. They're exploring a calendar plugin, and look at how many pages they have. They split up adult, teens, children's programming. They have an About Us page. They have a history page, a policies page. Cadot's a little bit larger compared to some of the the more rural libraries. So now let's go, who should we go to? I know that Prescott just put up their library and is doing a fantabulous job, so maybe I can find here's Prescott. And in Prescott, I'm going to go to their home page and look at here. So you'll see that again up at the top, we're going to see the logo and then the search box as it pertains to which system you're from. And then they have a home, services, about us, contact us. They also explored a calendar feature. They have a downloads page, so I'm guessing that's the Wisconsin Digital Library. There we go. Freeding and Flipster. They have a little bit of information about the content. Research, they have a research tab. Oh, job skills, so Learning Express Library, that kind of thing. Local and regional sources. This is pretty awesome. And then a youth tab, that's pretty awesome too. And if we click back to home, one thing I forgot to mention is, when you're on one of these other pages, if you click the logo, it'll bring you back home. So if you're on the About Us page and you find yourself at the bottom of the page, there'll be a logo and you can click on it and it'll bring you back to the home page. But look at here, they have blurbs on information at the bottom. They have information at the bottom of the page on what getting a library card, close days, checkout times and fines, information on board of trustees. They incorporate images and staff information as well as board information. Okay, let's check out another library here. Someone who is working on one. Turtle Lake is working on one. And we'll go to their page here. So again, you'll see my tester slide in here. Hours, the blurbs here. Library hours in the center here as well. The top up here, because their logo is more slender, their header up here is a little bit more slender. And I'll actually bring you guys to the Wisconsin Valley Library Service page, web page, because this is built using the Divi function. And look at how many pages we have. I did incorporate a calendar page or extra plugin. So you know, you can put your programs and this kind of thing. On the home page, we have a slider. We have 4 blurbs beneath it. On the bottom, you know, we have our social media. You can click the logo to go back to the home page. Let's go into one of the pages to see what we can do. So we have information on the coding initiative, and you'll see that we have images here. On the right hand side, you'll see we have a save the date for our youth workshop, examples of children's programming, and then beneath it we have an accordion. So if you have a lot of content that you just want on your page but you don't want it to take up too much room, you can add an accordion that packs in information, but it keeps your page brief, and I think that's important when people aren't spending too much time on websites, but you still want to have the content there for your people to find, right? And going through this, through the library, through the Wisconsin Valley Library Services page, will kind of give you an example of all the things Divi can do. We're on the Technology Services page, and Wisconsin Valley Library Service puts together a blog. And I made it possible to pull only technology-related blog posts to the technology page. So if you're only interested in technology issues, you can come to this page, you know, read on technology budget, libraries win services. You can contact the IT help desk, look at statistics, read the tech blog thing. You can get pretty creative with your designing. Here's our blog page, and you'll see that we have kind of a Pinterest feel on displaying our blogs, and there's the read more button, and you can look at our blog post by month or by categories if it pertains to technology, just overdrive. I'm going to show you the search function now. I'll go to our, it's on the bottom of the page. You can do a search function. Let's search overdrive. And so all of the blog posts that have a mention of overdrive will show up here. And instead we can also, let's search maybe a library name. So let's do Rhinelander District Library. What did I do here? District. Oh, look at, I spelled it wrong. I'm just going to go to library, Rhinelander then. Oh, everything that has pertains to Rhinelander is going to pop up here. So Rhinelander has a friend of the library. There's Rhinelander. Rhinelander staffers went to ALA. They participated in the youth services cohort. So that's a little bit how the search function works. And it's about 1:42. Let me just look at my notes to make sure I've covered everything. We did some examples. Now I'm going to bring up the chat box to see if there's any questions. Oh, I did want to show you how it looks at from different devices. So we can do that. And so when you're, so I'm going to access my page so I can edit it. So I went to the wvls.org/wpadmin. Here's the sign-in page. That's my credentials. I hit log in, and when we're editing a page, let's say we're editing what page should we edit it? We can edit the adult services page, let's say. And we want to edit this page, and we're changing, let's say we're changing some stuff in the reference resources because that's a hot issue. I don't know. But this little eyeball icon down here, if I click on it, it'll show me what it looks like on a desktop, a tablet, a cell phone, right? So how cool is that? That's really nice. Or, and my favorite way to do this is you just grab the edge of the page. Oh, do you guys want to see my baby? There's my baby. Hi, Jean Bean. But as you drag this page, as you adjust this page, come on, baby. There we go. As you adjust it, you can see how the screen is going to adjust, and you can see that what we call the hamburger menu appears. So then you don't have the full list of menu text here. It's more accessible on a mobile device. But you'll also notice that on the WDLS webpage here, we do not have the search box here, so that might look different for your library. We can grab one and just do that. Let's see what Cadots looks like when we grab that. Oh, and you see it turns into this lovely adaptive. Look at how the design even changes. So the design is like that, and then it'll change on your mobile device, and it'll make your sliders smaller. It's just lovely, guys. This, I can't say enough about how wonderful Divi is. How many blurbs are you allowed on the page? I'm not going to edit anything on anybody else's web page. I'm going to go to my own web page, and I'm going to show you how you can add different columns in here. I'm going to copy this section so I don't mess any of our content up, and I'm going to play with the design here. So this little function here says change structure. If I click on that, I can change where the format of the content. I can say I want four sections, or maybe 3 sections, or maybe half and half. So if I click on that, then it kind of just makes our sections up for me, and I can readjust things. And how beautiful is that, right? So essentially that you have 4 spaces for 4 columns that you could put 4 blurbs in, or you can have 8 blurbs in, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and on and on and on. This thing is so flexible that you can have any number of whatever you like in there, but it works on the grid system. And the grid system meaning, like, if you took out a chart, this page would fit perfectly into divided columns, and then that's the structure will also follow along. Think of a newspaper. You know, you have a column of news here, and then a bigger photo, and then right beneath it you have a photo and then more text. It follows the same principle there. It's called the grid design. So we're going to go back to the page here, and you'll see on ours we have 4. On some of the other pages, like the demo website, we had a space for 3 blurbs. It's very flexible. To provide example of sites already developed, I can shoot out a list so that you guys know who's all working together on websites. The plugins will not be included in the standard setup. If you guys want to add functionalities like calendars and other things, you need to be the expert, because I'll be assisting 75 libraries, so I'm not, and there's thousands of plugins, and I can show you guys an example of that here. In the plugins area on the left-hand side of the screen, you can search. Let's say I want to add a calendar plugin. So I don't have anything added, but I can go to the Add New area and search calendar, and then there are 1,082 options for a calendar even. So sky's the limit. So that's where we put the line in where we can't be an expert on every plugin. But when you click into, or when you add a plugin, they have all kinds of helpful resources. you know, user wikis and all that kind of stuff. What else? Is there an alt feature for images for web reader apps? You bet. This Divi theme is all about web accessibility, and when you add a image, and I can show you in the media library here, if you add an image, there is spot along here to add all of your extra information. You can have the title, the caption. Caption will display in wherever you insert it, so if that's not how you want your photo addressed, you can delete the caption here and then label it however you want it on the page. But it's always important, again, like you said, to have that alt text space and that description area filled out for web accessibility. Will Google Calendar integrate? You'll have to work with the plugins that we just kind of explored, but I'm sure that they do, because I've seen it on other library websites, not library websites, but websites in general. That automatic reconfig of the UI is called responsive design. Yes, so user experience terminology going on there. What about the ones you referred to for management by WVLS? I'm not sure what that question is, so maybe Lori, you can type that question in there again. And it would be great to have a list of links to libraries already using the Divi theme to get an idea of design themes. And you bet. I'm going to send out a follow-up email with information on libraries using Divi, as well as other companies using Divi, just to see all that you can do with it. Again, you'll have the other how-to sheets on you know, how getting started, that'll ask you to take a peek at other library websites and businesses that the websites that you like, so that you can kind of brainstorm and pull out your Crayolas and write in, draw in what functionalities you want. What else here? With regards to the plugins you had included on the sample page you displayed, with regard to the plugins you had included on the sample you displayed, what about the ones you referred to for management? So we can go over those plugins again. You will see 2 plugins on your web page, and those are plugins that we, as the Libraries Win website services team, had to install on your pages so that we can access them and manage your updates, and also assist you if you have questions. That way we don't have to remember or get a unique username and password to log into every single website that we help with. And us signing in this way using this plugin helps with security stuff. This is actually tied to this website, or this software. Infinite WP manages all of the websites together on the server, so it's just a connection to your files and all that kind of stuff that WordPress accesses, but we also need to have that tie-in to, again, help you with updates and signing in and building or adding new users for you guys, or in case your library webmaster leaves and they were the only one on here, we have access to help you guys get back into your website, if that helps. The Divi Extra Layout Injector, and an example of how that works is that layout injector makes it possible for us to put the logo and search area right here. The default for a WordPress website using Divi is that this menu bar is up at the top and it's immovable. So we had to make a special arrangement to shove this menu down, so then you guys can have your logos and search boxes there. I see another question. Nope. So again, just touching base on those plugins again, the 2 plugins that come with the website when we hand it over to you guys, these have to stay on there. If this gets accidentally deleted, Gus can get it back on there by using his server skills and all that stuff, but it's important for these two to stay on there, both for the design, because this affects the design, and then accessing to help you guys out. Wonderful. It's 1:54, so we have a couple minutes here if you guys have any questions. I know that was really fast and furious, and that's a lot of detail in there. But this webinar is recorded, and I will post it. And again, this is just a starting place that you guys would receive when we go to the elegant themes tutorial videos that you'll get later on in an email. You can see everything that you can do here. Since we have a couple minutes here, I'm going to pop into one of the pages and kind of change some things so you can see everything that it can do. So let's monkey with this little photo a little bit. If you plug everything in, so this is a text module. Text modules are built for text. They're not built for having images in them as well, but they can facilitate having an image within them. It's just that the image has less functionality. So let's say we wanted to have a photo on this page. I'm going to add a photo module by clicking Insert Module. I can go to the Image tab. I'll pick the image from our media library and look at everything's filled out in the alt text and description for accessibility. I can put more alternative text here and things like that. And I can go to the advanced design settings and have it pop out a little bit and just add a few more design aspects that make it a little bit, just a little bit nicer. You know, it can pop off the page and that kind of thing. But so an image module has way more functionality than an image within a text module. And of course I didn't save it, so it didn't pop up. How silly of me. But yeah, you'll see that since I didn't save my work, it erased. So that's unfortunate and kind of silly. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining me.